What's up everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be going through my round 18 AFL tips and predictions. Before we do get into it though, I'd like to just quickly say thank you for 20,000 subscribers. We hit that the other day. Unbelievable achievement and milestone. You know, when I started making my channel and uploading crappy footy card videos, did I really ever think I was going to reach anywhere near that goal? No, I didn't. Let's be real. So now, yeah, with 20k, you never know. One day I wouldn't mind getting a play button 100k, but I mean, that's still a long way away. I'll try not to upload again on the Wednesday. I do apologise for that. Let's go through round 17 to see how many tips I got correct. 5 out of 9. Simply just not good enough. I tipped the D's in a 50-50. I never get the 50-50 games right. I don't know why that is. The Swans, at least I got correct against the Dogs, and I predicted it to be a smashing, so I sort of I figured it was going to occur. Collingwood just scraped over the line against North. The Suns, one of the best wins in their history, got the job done over the Tigers in a huge comeback. I backed in the Saints as a Saints supporter and got betrayed. The Power was simply way too good for the Giants. The Lions, look, I knew they had a lot of outs, but I still thought surely at the Gabba they beat Essendon. Wasn't able to be the case. I thought the Adelaide Crows could get the upset done. Wasn't the case. And Carlton, they got the job done against the Eagles pretty comfortably. So 5 out of 9. Again, I thought last week was a chance for 9 out of 9. I'll be honest, at the end of the day, tipping has nothing to do with skill. It's got pretty much all to do with luck. And then the big calls. I was on track with a good start. I think I got 2 out of 9 correct after the Saturday games, but I didn't end up getting them all correct. I'll put the big screens that I got correct up on screen, but we'll have to head to a punishment. We have to decide on the wheel. So we'll go look to see which ones had the 3 most likes. Alright, so we're having a look at the punishments. The most likes that we got was from Lenza. He got 121, and his punishment was for me to buy the most ridiculous costume I can find and wear it in one of my next match day vlogs, one of my next neutral match day vlogs. The one with the second most likes from Geordie. Go to a game, there will be kick to kick after game and kick a goal from the goal square and recreate Nick's famous celebration from last week. And the next most likes are from Total Drama Nolan and Owa. And that was to do the ice show speed shake dance. I'll be honest, I don't know what the shake dance is from speed. And every goal the Saints concede, I have to dance in the next game. Okay, whatever. Alright, let's do this. Spin the wheel. See what I have to do over the next few weeks. And we've landed on... Oh, is it the... No, it's ridiculous costume. I've got to wear something stupid to the footy. Alrighty, well, let's get just right into round 18. I'm sure most people are here for my tips and not for me to do silly things like that. In the first game, we've got the Dogs taking on the Saints at Marvel on Friday night. The battle of mediocrity, to be fair. I mean, both sides have just been really average as of late. The Dogs really have been average all season. They can win the good games when they play at Marvel. They seem to play Marvel quite well, particularly against the lesser-like sides. But once they finally come up against a tougher opposition, particularly interstate, that's where they seem to crumble. They weren't able to get the job done against the Lions the week before. And then Sydney, obviously, I mean, it was lost in the first quarter. They just didn't come out to play, unfortunately, the Dogs. And I think their finals chance are pretty much gone. I'm saying the same thing for both sides, but mathematically, there's still a finals chance. And that's what I'm annoyed about with the Saints. It's the hope that kills you. And I tell you what, we still have a chance, but we just are so inconsistent. The difference between our best and worst is just way too severe. The Saints, we're good for 2 quarters. We dropped off monumentally. I don't think the scoreboard should have been a 42-point loss. It didn't reflect how we played for the whole game, personally, but that's not to say we didn't deserve to win. I mean, we definitely didn't deserve to win. We were definitely outplayed, particularly that second half. And I'll be honest, I'm a Saints fan. What I reckon will happen, it's similar to last week when backs against the wall. No one was predicting the Saints as it shows on the odds. We beat the Blues away at Marvel. We'll do the same thing against the Dogs. I just have a feeling that will happen to keep our slim chances alive, and we'll come out and lose against Hawthorn or West Coast in the next couple of weeks. So as a Saints fan, I'm going to tip the Saints here by 18 points. And my big call will be that the Saints lose the second half by 30 or more points. The next game, we've got the Adelaide Crows taking on Collingwood at the Adelaide Oval. The Pies have a chance to extend their winning streak to 8 games in a row. And you look at the ladder, there is a sneaky chance that the Pies could finish in the 4 at the end of the round. The Pies let's be real, they weren't great against North Melbourne. They sort of went into that game expecting an easy win, or that's what it seemed. Because let's be honest, how do you let North get 26 points ahead of you at some stage during the game? At three-quarter time, the Pies are just sort of like, you know what are we doing? Let's pull our fingers out of our ass and let's actually give a fucking effort. And they did, and they ended up getting the win. You can almost blame Jane Stevenson for the North for costing that game with a couple of really weak efforts in that last quarter. And the Pies, they continue their winning streak. Not the most convincing game, but that's okay. At least they got the win. Adelaide, I didn't really watch this game, but it seemed like they really weren't up for the contest early on. They got smashed. Mitch Lewis kicked 5 in the first half, and Adelaide sort of tried to claw their way back into the game, but it simply wasn't enough. It's one of these games Adelaide could win. I could see an upset happening, but I'll go the safe tip here. I think it'll be a thriller. For some reason, it's just something tells me that it'll be a close game of footy. But at the end of the day, you got to back in the Pies. The Pies have just been doing it really well over the last 7 weeks, and they'll continue their winning streak and win this one by 7 points. Well, the big call in this one, the Pies win after trailing at three-quarter time. Now, the next game of the round, we've got the Giants taking on the Lions at Manuka Oval. I think I said that one right. I really don't know at this rate. Now, the Giants, well, they were just extremely supporting on the weekend. I didn't watch the game, but I checked the scores. You can't score 3 goals in an entire game of footy. Even the Saints scored more goals and points when we played against the Swans, and that was bad. I mean, the Giants, it just seems like they just keep on regressing. They don't seem to be getting better, and I'll be honest, it was a bit of a myth saying that they're getting better under Mark McVeigh. They probably aren't. However, the Lions, we know what they had to deal with leading into the game against the Bombers off the field. They had 9 outs due to COVID. I think that's going to rattle them again leading into this week. I see, for some reason, the Giants' potential upset. It would be my upset tip of the week. It's in Canberra, and I don't know if the Lions have ever played at Canberra, so I think that gives the Giants an advantage here. Yes, it requires the Giants to actually play a good game of footy, which they haven't really been able to do all year, but something tells me the Lions are going to drop another one, drop their heads, and they could cost themselves a top 4 spot at the end of the round. Missing my upset call of the week, the Giants get the job done in this game by 9 points. The big call, the Giants lead for 75% or more of the game. The next game of the round, we've got North taking on the Tigers at Marvel Stadium. Both sides, well, they did choke huge leads. North Melbourne to start off with. They were up by 26 at three-quarter time against Collingwood. I thought, Jesus Christ, they're going to win this. But again, I had that feeling in me that, you know, they were going to crumble in that last quarter and run out of legs because they are a younger side. They sort of did against the Swans when they played really well earlier this season at the SCG. And Richmond, goodness gracious me, that could come back to bite them. They were up by 40 at one stage, I think it was. 40 points. And you go on to lose the game. It's not like they've done that. It's not like that's the first time they've done that this year. They've done it before against other sides. The Tigers, a game that they needed to win, a game that they couldn't have let slide. And now that 8th spot is up for grabs for a lot of teams, honestly. The Tigers, they really, really messed up that opportunity. I mean, I feel like North could provide something. They've now sacked David Noble, so the interim coach, I think Lee Adams. Whenever there's an interim coach the next week, it seems like the team plays well because of it. But this is North Melbourne we're talking about. I don't think anyone could really save them, unless it's Tango Baldy, honestly, from them, you know, not losing against the Tigers here. I think the Tigers, even though it's at Marvel, they should probably still get the job done quite comfortably. And I know the streak is now broken for North's 47-point losses. I think it'll start up again here in this one, and I go the Tigers to win this game by 50 points. With my big call in this game, North Melbourne kicked the first 2 goals of the game. The next game we have is between the Blues and the Cats at the MCG. I feel like this is a game that could be a thriller. It is sort of a 50-50 game, although the Cats, they've just been really impressive, and I feel like they are deserving of being favourites in this one. The Blues, you know, besides for the second quarter, they had a complete performance, honestly, against the Eagles. They didn't let the Eagles score at all in the first and last quarters, which I think is a record. Yeah, it was a complete performance from them. Mackay and Curnow combined for 10. They did a lot of things right. I know it was against West Coast, but they still needed to win in what we were sort of calling a danger game, and they couldn't have done it any better. Whereas the Cats, you know, they stake their claims now as premiership favourites. Personally, I think they're the premiership favourites. The Cats at the moment, they've won, I think, their last 7 or 8 games. And again, to continue their winning streak against the D's, one of the best sides of the competition, that speaks a lot of the Cats and where they're going. So I feel like this is going to be a close game. I might be going to this game and vlogging it, so let me know if you want to see that. Stay tuned, because it's probably going to happen. It's on the cards. Personally, the Cats are the better side in this one, and I feel like the Blues are just going to continue their streak right now. Win, loss, win, loss, win, loss here. They'll lose by 14 points is my call. My big call, though, Mackay and Curnow combined for 3 or less goals. And the other game on the Saturday night between the Dockers and the Swans, This is set to be another really good game of footy on the Saturday night. I'm a bit disappointed that there are two really good games of footy on the same time slot. I mean, come on, AFL, do better with your fixturing. Now, after a pretty shaky last month of footy, the Dockers, they really let that all go with that really impressive performance against the Saints. It sort of seemed like they weren't really in the contest or weren't playing up to their standards early on, but they really got going as the game progressed, and they were just way too dominant in that second half. They were just doing everything right. Their ball use was amazing. Brayshaw was scintillating with the ball, and now they're coming up against the Swans, who did come off a really big win against the Dogs, albeit it was against the Dogs, who aren't going very well at the moment, and the Swans, they are also a side that, similar to Carlton, they continue the trend of losing and then winning the week after. Quite inconsistent side. I feel like it's going to continue here. The Dockers at home, they're really tough to beat. I think the Swans, I don't see them winning this game. I think it'll be a decent game. The Swans could win. There's a chance. They have it in them. But I think Freo win this one by 28 points. I think it'll be a fairly comfortable victory personally. And my big call in this game will be that the Swans are goalless in any quarter of the game. The next game of the round, we've got the Hawks taking on the Eagles at the MCG. I feel like this could be a hidden gem of a game. Like, Hawthorn have the capabilities of dropping this, but they also have the capabilities of winning this game by over 10 goals. The Hawks, I didn't have faith in them, I'll be honest, leading into the Crows game. They just really didn't have anything going for them as of late. I think that the time they lost 10 of the last 11 games, but it was good that they finally were back on the winners list, the Hawks, against the Crows, and it was all due to the first half, really. As I said earlier, Mitchell Lewis kicked 5 goals. Was very quiet in the second half, but I mean, he's set to be a gun, and I feel like he could have a really big day at the office in this one as well. Whereas the Eagles, I thought they were okay in bits and pieces of the game, but they just didn't come out to play early on. The inside 50 count in the first quarter was like 22-1, I think, and they didn't score in the first quarter. And when you don't score in the first quarter of footy, that's going to set you back quite a lot. And they did have a good second quarter. I mean, they kicked 45 points. They kicked 7 of their 8 goals in the second quarter alone, which I feel like has to be a record, honestly. And then that last quarter, they just sort of dropped their heads again when they were still a chance in the game. I thought that there was still a chance for the Eagles to potentially win. Then they lose the game by over 10 goals. I think, though, the Eagles are still heading in the right direction. They're still playing better footy. But, I think it'd be a brave person to tip the Eagles. And I'm not going to be tipping the Eagles probably again for the season almost. So the Hawks in mine, I think they'll win this game, but it won't be a smashing. I think it'll be like a really high-scoring game of footy, similar to the Richmond game against the Eagles. I go the Hawks win this one by 24 points. Well, a big call. The two sides will combine for 206 points or more. Now, the next game of the round, this is an interesting one. We've got the D's taking on the Power at TIO Traeger Park in Alice Springs. Now, when you look at the two sides head-to-head, it's not as sure of a tip as other people are saying. I reckon this game could be really close. It's honestly almost, in mine, a 50-50 game to tip. Because the D's, I know they've been getting better, but they're still crumbling as of late. They haven't really played their footy to the best potential. They've sort of been slipping the D's in the footy that they play. And I'll be honest, the Power, they did lose against the Dockers the week before, but they've had a really good last 7-8 weeks of footy. They really haven't done too many things wrong, the Power. It's just honestly the first 5 games that will ultimately probably cost them. And, after last week, completely obliterated the Giants. The D's, obviously, they weren't able to get it done. And they honestly should have lost the game by more against the Cats. This sees me almost wanting to tip the Power. I think the Power are definitely a chance in this one. And this is sort of a neutral ground. Both sides have played here before. The D's can't call TO Traeger Park their home. They don't freaking train there or anything like that. They never play there. Earlier this year, the Power got a good win against the Saints in Cairns in a game where, again, it was sort of neutral territories. Port do have the capabilities of honestly winning at these sort of grounds. I'm going to go another upset tip. I went the Giants earlier this video. I'm going to go the Power. I think the Power can honestly get it done. I could be stupid with my tip, but these are the sort of tips that if you get it correct, you seem like an absolute genius. So I'm going to go Port to win it in a good game of footy by 7 points. Now, my big call will be that combined, there are 8 or more behind scored than goals. And the final game of the round, we've got actually a pretty good game of footy. Geez, I tell you what, this is the game that I probably might stream. I'm almost liking the Sunday 4:40 PM time slots. And this seems to be another thriller, and I don't know why, but again, it's going to be against the Suns. The Bombers against the Suns. The Bombers, I mean, their last month of footy has been really, really good. What a turnaround the Bombers have made since that game against the Blues. They beat the Saints when we were actually a good side at the time. They go against the Eagles, a bit of a blimp in the radar. Then they win against the Swans and the Lions consecutive weeks. Two sides that are probably going to be playing finals footy. If the Bombers continue that trend, this is a winnable game, that's for sure. However, the Suns, I've just been super impressed with what the Suns have built up over the last 7 or 8 weeks. They haven't put a foot wrong since that game against Brisbane where they lost by like 48 points. But even in that game, they weren't terrible. And, I mean, that win, that shows so much spirit. Be down by 40 points and find a way to win after the siren. I mean, Jesus Christ. Gold Coast, they're here to play. They are here to play. And because of that, as much as I think the Bombers are doing good things at the moment, I think the Suns, I want to keep tipping them until they prove me otherwise. I'm going to go the Suns again in another thriller. This is going to be 4 thrillers in a row for the Suns, is my prediction. The Suns win the game by 2 points. And my big call, the Suns win after the siren yet again. No, I won't. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that as a big call because it most likely won't happen. My actual big call in this game will be that there are 10 or more lead changes in the game. So those are my tips for round 18. Look, I just want to get better than 5. Can I get better than 5? I don't think that's too much to ask for, honestly. I tip the Saints, the Pies, the Giants, the Tigers, the Cats, the Dockers, the Hawks, the Power, and the Suns. So I went for a couple of upsets. Hopefully they lead me in the right direction with my tips and I can get a good score this round. And of course, before we do wrap things up, we've obviously got to go and have a look at the competition, the Carman 22 tipping comp, to see where everyone is at. And I'm, 653rd out of 1,174. So it's great we've got that many people in the competition, but it's not really that great that I'm 653rd. I mean, that's pretty poor. And I'll tell you what, with the upsets that were occurring this round, I mean, bloody hell, 9 out of 9 is a really good get. Go Bombers and Fletcher Smith both getting perfect scores. And then we've got a lot of people who got 8. Look at all these people that got 8. I would personally give shout-outs, but I tell you what, there are a lot of people. So I'll just quickly go over all the people that did tip 8. And there you go. 56 people all tipped 8. So huge. And of course, we'll go over the total score. This is where it gets heated, honestly. I mean, it's so close now, the top 20, honestly. You've got Dino Marino again, just edging out, as well as Nick Dacre's official with 129. You've got Rowan Marshall's son, Docker Army, ESPN fan Jake Felipe, and Lion Boldo with 127. And then you got these people with 126. I won't read out everyone's name, of course, but like it's super close. Anyone, honestly, even Riser, he's on 123, 6 away from top. He could go on a rampage and getting all these upset tips right. I feel like at this rate, it's worth the risk. You got to go the upsets. You can't go all the basic tips, because how's that going to get you ahead of your competition? Anyways, guys, those were my tips for round 18. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Again, I apologize for coming out a bit later on the Wednesday. I will have a giveaway up on the channel very soon this week. Just keep an eye on that video because, you know, I sort of want to do it to give back to everyone for all the support to get me to 20k. Thanks everyone for watching the video though. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Comment down below your tips and a punishment. I'll see you guys soon in my next video. Cheers.